We're here on the Sports Objective podcast. Another great guest from the Mountaineers, the play-by-play voice of Appalachian State, Adam Witten. Adam, thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah, you got it.
Wanted to talk to you about Appalachian State, and I know big football season coming up. Tell us a little bit about now we're in the preseason. Can you give us some kind of highlights of the team and the expectations this year?
Well, the one thing that I've learned in my short time doing games at App State, this will be my third year, is that expectations are always high, which is remarkable to say for a program that is not far removed from its days as an FCS member. They've only been a member of the Sun Belt since 2014, and they've had remarkable success over that time. They're coming off back-to-back Sun Belt Conference titles, 3 consecutive bowl wins. No team has ever played in and won 3 bowl games in their first 3 years of being bowl eligible. So expectations are very high. And I think it really goes to show what this program has built as far as something that's built to last, because there's a lot of star power and a lot of sexy names gone from last year's team. 4-year starters all over the place at quarterback, on the offensive line, all across the defense. A lot of big names that have been super productive in helping to lead this run of success that the program has had that are gone, and a very small senior class. This team has 11 seniors on its roster, which is a very small number in college football. Yet, we just came off of Sun Belt Conference Media Days not that long ago, and the team was still picked to win the division in a league that's now splitting into 2 divisions. In an East Division with a team like Troy also in there, that's another power in the league. App State was picked to win the division and play in the first ever conference championship game. So when you take all of the factors that this team has that, at least on paper, you would think kind of work against them in having the same kind of success, a lot of people still believe that this team is incredibly talented, and they are, because while they are younger than they have been in years past, there is so much talent across the board, and they've been recruiting at a very high level since they've had success at the FBS level. And that recruiting talent has started to mature, develop, and have become contributors. They've had true freshmen the last few years that have been immediate contributors on the team, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. So, yeah, expectations are very high. Very excited to get the season started because, you know, the success has been there in the past, and they certainly expect it to continue regardless of who's coming back and who's not.
I know that one of the reasons you've already mentioned his name for the success is an incredible coach in Scott Satterfield. What are your thoughts about him?
He is, you know, I've worked in college sports for a while. I haven't worked at App State in this role for a long time, but I've worked around coaches in college sports for a long time in doing this. He is by far the easiest person to work with. He is so down to earth and he's chummy, he's friendly, he's relatable, and he is about as selfless as they come at a head coaching position. You know, there's a lot of people that in this profession that come in with egos and a certain attitude about, you know, they try to be maybe an authoritative figure, and he is that, but he does it in a much more calm manner. So I can sit here and I can tell you and people listening things that they probably already know about him, which is the success that he's had. And if you dig a little bit on him, you'll know that he's an App State grad. He played quarterback at the school, so he bleeds black and gold. But from my experience, the thing that I love about working with Coach Satterfield is, despite all the success, despite the things that he's accomplished in his career, which, you know, he's still very young, he's still in his mid-40s, he does not let any of that go to his head. He works just as hard, regardless of how much they've accomplished or how much success that they have, because he has come up from the very bottom of this coaching profession to where he is now at his alma mater. And so he's a grinder. He's always someone that's fighting for respect, no matter what he achieves. And he lets that come through in the way that he coaches his team. He gets his players motivated to play with a chip on their shoulder, to fight for respect as a program that's, you know, it's a G5 program. And so they always feel like when, especially if they go up against other P5 schools, they're always fighting for that respect, always fighting to be a little bit better than others. And so he is so good at getting his players to play that way, but at the same time, he has fun with them. He gets them to buy into what they're trying to do, and he's someone that is about as easy to work with as you're going to find anywhere in the country. It makes my job a heck of a lot easier knowing that regardless of what happens on the field, he's going to be someone that I'm going to enjoy talking to when we do post-game interviews or coaches shows or what have you. So I feel, and I know the rest of the Mountaineer fan base feels incredibly blessed to have Scott Satterfield as our head coach.
Absolutely. So having said that, I know he's an alum, but do you ever worry about him leaving because of all the success he's had?
You know, I think the thing that's unique about him is he has such strong ties to the area. And I think anybody would be worried. And I don't know if worried is the right word because, you know, certainly you want people to achieve their dreams and their goals that they have in their profession. And for any coach, whether it's him or anybody that's moving their way up through the ranks, to be able to achieve the things that they want to achieve for them and their families. And, you know, you want that for people in any walk of life. And so, but for Coach Satterfield, he's in a unique position because he did graduate from the school, but his whole family has strong ties to the high country of North Carolina. His wife, Beth, and his 3 kids, they have deep roots in Boone, North Carolina. And so not saying that would ever prevent something from happening, but he absolutely loves being in Boone, and he loves Appalachian State. And the other thing, too, is they continue to build things around that program. There's so much momentum and a snowball effect coming with App State football that, you know, I really feel like they've only scratched the surface of what this program can achieve. And so I think that's what any coach wants, is as long as you feel like you're continuing to grow in where you want, you can continue to achieve more things and do more things with your profession. I think that's what people want regardless of where they are. And so there's a lot of things going for them that make it such an attractive place to be. And I know that they're very happy where they are. I will say this, you know, if you can't prevent other schools from showing interest and certainly making offers, and all that means is that if he and the rest of his staff are getting offers to go other places, that just means the program's having success.
Right.
The defensive coordinator from last year, Nate Woody, is now at Georgia Tech because App State's defense has been unbelievable the last few years. Scott Sloan, who was a defensive assistant and recruiting coordinator, is now a defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern within the conference because he was a great recruiter and he did such great things with the secondary at Appalachian. And so, you know, he and the rest of his staff are going to continue to get looks because of the success. They say, hey, the guys at Appalachian State are doing something right, so we've got to pay attention to them and we've got to give them some looks. And so, yeah, that stuff's going to happen. But the way that I and a lot of others look at it is you can't prevent that stuff from happening, and you hope that it keeps happening because what it means is that you're having success and you're doing things the way that a lot of people want to be doing it.
Well, you know, Adam, one of the reasons for the success is behind the scenes. I think that the AD, Doug Gillen, has done an absolute fantastic job. Can you talk about him?
Yeah, Doug is actually someone that I've known even before coming to App. He and I crossed paths professionally before either of us made our way to Boone. So I've known Doug for a few years, and he's been remarkable to work with. It's what's interesting to me, the way that you can truly get a sense of the way people are and the way that they go about their business and handle themselves and the people that are around is when you talk to the other people that work with him. And the thing that I've found is anybody that you ask in that department about him, they absolutely love working with him. And Doug is somebody that's certainly gotten things done as well. So he's very sharp. He's very experienced. He's got a good business mind about him, and he truly cares about the student athletes. One of the things that I love hearing about is he, and this is not lip service here. This is genuine. He is just as excited about the fact that he can build an end zone, a brand new end zone facility at Kid Brewer Stadium, or do things to improve the things around the the football team from a facility standpoint. He's just as excited about that as he is that he's finally going to build a facility for the field hockey program. The field hockey program, when he came in there, they didn't have a conference. They didn't have, a place to dress and change before and after the game. And he's one of the things that he's probably most proud of in being there is that he took the field hockey program, which was the first women's sport at Appalachian State, and he got him into the Mid-American Conference, and he was able to raise enough support to build them a locker room facility at their field just off campus. So he truly cares about the student athletes across every sport, and that's one of the things that I and a lot of others admire about him. But he's also accomplished so much with football as well in facilities, with scheduling. We've had some incredible home games and more to come. I mean, getting home games scheduled with Miami and Wake Forest, an upcoming series that'll feature home games with East Carolina and North Carolina and South Carolina. Those things mean so much to the program, and it's one of the reasons why things just continue to build at App State. And so the leadership across the programs, the leadership in the athletics department, it all plays into to the way that things are just continuing to move in the right direction up in Boone.
Well, with a couple minutes we have left, I wanted to ask you about, as far as the team is concerned, on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, how are things? I know you talked about the number of there are not a lot of seniors on the team, but how are things looking on offense?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that most people want to talk about with the offense with App is what's going to happen at the quarterback position. Right. A Mount Rushmore quarterback in Taylor Lamb is no longer with the program. He's graduated after setting records and winning and doing historical things with him and the rest of the class that he came in with. So the quarterback position is certainly one that we're going to see a new face for the first time in a while. Zach Thomas is a rising sophomore who is going to take over the reins. It's his job at the beginning of the season. He's an impressive young man. Everything that we've heard about him is he's got the skill set to do it. He's got a strong arm. He's quick. He's got the right skill set to be able to run the offense that Appalachian has. The one thing that you just don't know is he hasn't taken any meaningful snaps yet. And he certainly will in that first game against Penn State. So it kind of remains to be seen what happens there, but the coaches certainly feel they've got the right guy for the job to step in at that position and be successful. And the thing about it is, whether it's Taylor or Zach or whoever the quarterback is, they never really ask the quarterback to do too much because there's so much talent around him. I mean, Appalachian, for as good of a quarterback as Taylor Lamb was, they're a team that always wants to have success running the ball first, with a good, solid offensive line, dynamic backs, utilizing receivers and the quarterback in the running game as well. And so they've got a guy in Jalen Moore who is 2 years ago was the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year, preseason first-team all Sun Belt running back in the backfield. He's an NFL caliber back. And so if he can be healthy, that's a huge asset to the offense. At wide receiver, I feel like they've got as talented of a group of wide receivers as they've had since Scott Satterfield's been the head coach at Appalachian. It's chock full of youth and speed and more size this year. There's a guy that people are going to get to know this year who's a transfer from Kansas State named Corey Sutton. Just totally looks the part and a dynamic talent who they're adding to the receiving core along with so many other young players that were productive last year. Offensive line is another area where there's some question marks because the right side of that offensive line was a couple of four-year starters who are now in the NFL. So at right guard and right tackle, they're breaking in two new offensive linemen. But again, they've recruited at such a high level, especially up front, that there's going to be some younger guys coming in there that are super talented. We just have to see how they gel. So offense, I think things are looking good. We'll have to see how things play out with some new faces there. Defense, it's all about speed. I mean, there's so much speed and so much depth on the defensive side of the ball. In the secondary, you've got two of the best corners in the conference in Clifton Duck and Tay Hayes. Up front, they rotate so much with so much speed and talent up front on the defensive line in the 3-4 alignment. At linebacker, they're replacing two productive guys, Devin Stringer and Eric Boggs, who have played for 4 years and have been just leaders of that defense. So they've got some guys that need to step up into those roles, but they have someone in the middle of that defense, and Anthony Flory, who's kind of ready to take his turn in being the leader of that defense and have a breakout season. So I feel good about the way that things are coming together, the talent that they have in place, despite not having a ton of seniors on this roster. But I think the seniors that are there are going to provide the right leadership. You just got to kind of see how it all blends together, because you can plug guys in who are talented, but it's all got to work together as one. And that's what they're going to try to figure out when they start camp here in about a week from today. As of this recording, they report for fall camp a week from today. So it's exciting. I think that this team's got certainly the capability to be as good, if not better, than last year when they won the league in another bowl game. But there's some younger players and some new faces that they're going to have to break in and see how it all comes together.
Well, Adam, I certainly could talk hours and hours about football and Appalachian State, but I know that you've been generous with your time. Good luck to you guys, the Mountaineers, going up to Happy Valley. Maybe they can pull up a win like they did in the Big House in 2007. That would be a great start for the college football season.
We would certainly take it. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.